over, do they necessarily, when the girl's hungover, does she necessarily want to see just ass and titties? Maybe, maybe not. What does she want to do? She wants to cure her hangover. When a girl says she's hungover at night, that already is like a huge like red flag for me. Because it's like, wait, you're hungover. Hangovers don't go that quick. Like you're not, you're hungover from drinking an hour and a half ago. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a little bit weird, right? But to solve the hangover, what do you need? You need two things. You need some bomb-ass Mexican food, and you need hair of the dog. What's hair of the dog? Well, it's alcohol. It's more alcohol, right? So you could solve these problems, right? But if you're like, okay, so hangover, you can almost see that like she's just kind of not feeling it. So you don't even need to know that she's hungover. You can just see that like she's not really. So if you say strip club, all that you're saying is that like you're gonna go into a building with naked women. So you're just basically listing more features. Does that make sense? So how could you have sold that in a more benefits kind of way? Hair of the dog is what do they call it? Like an adage, right? It's an idiom, an adage. The hair of the dog is the benefit. Hair of the dog is that anytime you can use these like adages, idioms, slang that that people will kind of get. Like if you're like, oh, we can grab drinks there, and oh, you need some hair of the dog, we can get that there. You're kind of saying the same thing, but why is hair of the dog better? It's better because hair of the dog is listing the benefit. Hair of the dog basically means if you're hungover, you do a shot and your hangover will go away. That's hair of the dog. So hair of the dog implies that there's going to be drinks there, but it also has an added benefit of basically describing to her that, well, we'll kill your hangover in 2 seconds. We'll do a shot there. Without you having to qualify yourself and explain to her, hey, well, you know what? When you're hungover, we can go get a shot of Don Julio 1942. In about 3 to 8 seconds after the shot, your hangover will go away because you'll consume more alcohol, and after you imbibe that, your hangover will dissipate. Like, you don't have to say all that. You don't have to explain all that. When you're like, oh, hair of the dog, that's what you need. Let's go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
And it sounds so simple. It sounds so minute. But instead of being like, because like every time I see guys who are working on logistics, they're like, oh, strip club, ass and titties, let's go. Or oh, there's more drinks here. Or oh, there's food there. That's not describing things in a way where the girl's just like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do it. Because you're not describing the benefit to them. You're not describing the benefit and the reason why they should be doing the thing that you're asking them to do. The goal is to take these concepts and apply it to every part of your game, not just logistics. But if you can solve this, you'll never have a girl reject your day two. You'll never have a girl reject bounce locations. You'll never have her not get your phone number. You'll never have her not do anything. You'll never really have very many signs of disinterest at all if everything that you say has a tinge of benefits, not features. Got it? Cool. So let's go back to the example. So why is talkative better than get you laid? Like make you more talkative. Okay, in pickup, what's the one thing that you think you need in order to fix your game? Like one thing. You.
Personally?
Yeah.
Just the fundamentals, like, squaring up, strong eye contact.
So body language. What about you?
Exactly the same.
Cool, what about you?
Being more talkative.
Cool, what about you?
Talking.
Yeah, for you it's definitely talkative. Yeah. We'll get you out of it though. Cool. I talk too much, so we'll meet in the middle. You'll stand over there, I'll stand over here, we'll run, we'll hit each other, and then we'll go for it. Cool. Which, by the way, that's a really good bit. When you're talking about two girls, and one girl has one thing, one girl has the other, doesn't have it, say, all right, well, you go stand over there, you go stand over there. I'll sometimes just tell them to shut up. I'm like, no, shut up. You stand over there, you stand over there. I would just want you to run and hit each other, and then we're gonna have one perfect girl, and then I'll be able to date that girl instead, right? It's like I have a bunch of like little jokes that set up like threesome stuff, or set up them like bantering with each other. That's a cool way to do it. Everyone kind of thinks that like there's that one thing they need to do to get better at game, or there's that one thing they need to do with their career, one thing that they need to do for getting in physical shape, right? Well, it's instead of like the energy drink or the caffeine being able to just directly get you laid, or the Axe body spray just get you laid, you have to break it down into that relatable, believable level. It's not really indirect or direct, it's more just that believable. Even relatable is kind of a better word than believable, because like it's one thing to believe something that can happen or exist for other people. It's another thing. It's another thing if you can relate it specifically to you. And the better way to describe it is, can you put yourself in those shoes of what's happening? Does that make sense? So when you're describing something in a game, can you actually get the girl to put herself in the shoes that you're talking about? So hair of the dog, it's like, wait, what if you don't want somebody to keep thinking of like all the what ifs that could happen or the problems with the thing that you want them to do. You want to describe it and describe it in such a way where it doesn't have to be very elaborate, but it's got to be concise, but describe that concise thing in such a way where they put themselves in that shoes and they imagine themselves already completing the task and then it's already done. That's the best way to describe a benefit. So if you're like, oh, Red Bull, and you're trying to like convince somebody that Red Bull will actually get you laid, you want to be like, oh, this will get you mad pussy. Right now, this alone, you crack it open, it will get you pussy. Because that's just, you can't, huh?
First, I will not believe it.
Right.
I will not believe it.
Yeah, and even if you can believe it, right? Even if you can believe it, you're not even going to be able to like put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's like, wait, but I see that that could get somebody laid, but how is that going to get me laid? So then you're not even putting yourself in the shoes because it's not very relatable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. But instead, if you're like, yo, Red Bull will just make you way more talkative. Well, we all want to be more talkative, right? And what is being more talkative allow? Well, if we're more talkative, we could probably seduce more women. Okay? So it's kind of like the concept of the pull. Let's use that because the logistics are a lot easier. When we talk about this stuff with game, it's a little bit more difficult. So let's talk about that with the logistics. What would be an unbelievable kind of way to solve that problem with like getting them to Sapphire or some other secondary location?
Unbelievable, meaning that,
It's going to change your life.
oh, just like
Yeah,
something very-
it's going to change your life. So like Meridian Pool. You guys remember when we, well, not we, like remember how some people were like trying to oversell the Meridian Pool?
Yeah.
Right? They'd be like, oh my God, it's the sickest pool party ever. It's 24 hours, it's fucking raging. Okay? And it's cool, it's a neat pool, but like at 3 a.m., how many people are at that pool raging?
Well, you have to start in a different way.
You do, but I would hear a lot of people sell it this way,
Yeah.
right? You have to sell it a different way, right? If you sell it in this way, if you sell something that's over the top and it doesn't deliver on it, even if like, let's say it is that over the top, you have to be careful about it because they're not going to believe it. They're not going to put themselves in those shoes. They're not going to relate to it. Does that make sense?
Yes, I'm in a way, yeah.
Right. That's why also it's very, very important to make sure that everything that you say when you're in set, you deliver on. And you have to be careful that when you say, if it's one thing if it's just a joke or it's a break and report and attraction builder, it's a whole nother thing if what you're saying is something that it can be like proven wrong or that you don't deliver on. Like for example, taking them to Cromwell and Dre's, you want to be really careful about stuff like that because if you take them there, it's weird how girls will twist that into some like misuse of their trust. Like they might not show it, but a girl will like equate you taking her to some place that's closed as like you're not gonna be able to take care of your kids one day. But you know what I mean? Like they'll blow it up out of proportion in their minds. It's crazy. But you know, some of that stuff is just gonna come up in set. You can't solve all of it. But always equate things to, are you just describing something or are you actually explaining the benefit of what it's gonna achieve and what it's gonna accomplish? What's another instance in game that you could see this play out? Trying to build attraction. Well, how could you describe things? You've all done this before. You've all tried it. What's a way to describe attractive things about yourself? Or what's a way to just list the features of you that make you attractive? What's something that you've done?
I mean, you can make fun of it like in the opposite way. Like you can say, I'm shy.
No, what's something that you have done? What's something that you've done where you're like, oh, this kind of built attraction, but it was just like me just describing something about myself. We've all done it. And it's not bad, so don't be afraid to say it. It's not bad. It's just I'm trying to show you a better way to do things.
Like I travel like.
Boom, perfect. The travel one. Who here's told girls that they travel a lot or that they like to travel? We all have, right? It's a very common thing and also works really well. You notice every time you say anything about travel, you can almost just like say the name of another country and the girl's like, what? Oh, that's cool. Like every time I go anywhere, I say I'm from Vegas. Did I grow up in Vegas? No. But being from Vegas is a cool, interesting thing. It's a lot better than being from, Richmond, Wisconsin. It's not even where I'm from. Right? So travel. But what's the problem with just saying that you travel to a girl? Why is there a negative to that?
Because you're like qualifying yourself.
Exactly. And why is qualifying yourself bad?
You're putting in investment.
Exactly. Why is putting in investment bad?
You want them to put in investment.
Exactly. But why is putting in investment bad?
Okay, this means that you care.
It means that you care. What else? Let's keep going down this path.
So you chase her.
Yeah.
Keep chasing.
Exactly. And what's that going to do?
Make you more invested.
Make yourself go
Yeah,
on
make
this.
her run. Yeah.
It's gonna make her run. It's gonna make, but like, it's what's gonna make you less attractive. It's gonna make her think that you, oh wow, this guy's trying to get my attraction, attention. So what's gonna happen? She's gonna pull back a little bit. She's gonna give you signs of disinterest. Then you're gonna see those signs of disinterest, and then you're either gonna lay it on thicker or you're gonna depart completely, right? So what's a better way to do the travel one? Instead of like saying, oh, I travel a lot, or oh, I backpack through Europe. What's a better way to do it?
You can tell a story about what happened in that country, like when you were traveling or something, like indirect.
That's a fantastic way to do it. Yeah, it can get better, but that's fantastic. What else?
Because
And it's not even like, we've all heard, have you guys all heard of the idea of like embedding DHVs or embedding cool shit about yourself in stories?
Yeah.
Have you guys all heard that before? No? What's an example of embedding for the people who don't know?
If a girl from Venezuela, you can say I hate Venezuela.
What?
You can say I hate Venezuela. I hate it.
Well, I more mean like, yeah, if you say like, I hated it.
I've been there.
Yeah, exactly. If you're like, I hate Venezuela, that could be just a tease, right? But if you're like, oh, I hated Venezuela. Or when I tried Venezuela, or like, oh my God, the Venezuelan restaurant I tried when I was there was bad, was terrible. Like, you're basically saying that you've been there without actually just coming out and literally saying that you were there. It's a lot better than just being like, oh, I've been here, and just going off the list of attraction builders. Make sense? Cool. What's another way that you could say it? The travel one. Features tell, benefits sell. What's the benefit? What's the reason?
you met lots of people.
Yeah, food. Food is huge, right? Food is massive. Being able to talk about food, like you guys should all be trying different restaurants from every type of food, even if you can think that you like, even if you think you might like it or not like it, whatever. Because food is an amazing, amazing thing that you can bond with girls about. You can tease them about. You can build attraction off of it. There's so much things you can do with, so many different things you can do with food. Raise your hand if you talk about food in set a lot. Okay, like raise your hands. Look at this. Look at the difference. Everyone look at whose hands are raised. The three of us. Okay. That's kind of funny that the three of us talk about food in a set, but then no one else raised their hands. Okay. I'd argue the three of us probably get laid the most in the room. Not with each other. Right. The reason why food is so great is because it's crazy comfort building and attraction building at the same time. By just food, even if you haven't, like I've never been to India, but I could describe to you bomb-ass Indian food. I could describe to you bomb Pakistani food. I could describe Indian food to you in such a way that you'd think that I've lived in India. And I'm not trying to brag, huh?
Can you give an example, like how you would?
Yeah, out of here it's going to sound kind of context, kind of context. It's going to sound kind of out of context. But basically, I'll describe. We'll just start talking about something. We'll be maybe 10, 20 minutes in the interaction, and then.
She's Indian.
Huh?
She says she's Indian.
Well, if she says she's Indian, I'm going to say dot or feather. And then she's going to go, what? Like, get it? Is she a dot or is she a feather? Right? I'm gonna if she talks about her being Indian, that's right before the stage where I'll talk about Indian food. Right? If she's like dot or feather, or if I'm like dot or feather, and like if she's like, oh, haha, dot, then I'm going to go, oh shit, I know, pat the dog and turn the light bulb, right? Right? Like how to dance like an Indian? Pat the dog and turn the light bulb. And then she's gonna go, ha 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 ha, oh, you're such an asshole. And I go, ha ha, I am. And then I'm gonna pick her up like this, put her down, kiss her on the cheek, be like, shut the fuck up, where do you think I'm from? And she's gonna be like, I don't know. I'm gonna go, I'm Feather. And then she's gonna go, oh my God, you're such a dick. I'm gonna go, ha ha, I am, bye. I'm gonna leave. Then she's gonna go, oh my God, why are you leaving? I'm gonna go, I don't know. And then we're gonna get into the set. Does that make sense? So, it's an example that has nothing to do with what I was talking about, but that's how I'd follow it up if the girl's like, I'm Indian.
Still a great example.
It's not really food at all. Like a dog. So I'll just talk about like, okay, so sometimes I'll just break out with that reminds me. I'll be like, oh my God, that reminds me. I love Indian food. And she's gonna be like, oh, what do you mean? Or, oh, I love Indian food too. So when I say I love Indian food, there's only one of two ways she can like fall into that trap. Oh, I hate Indian food, or, oh my God, I love it too. Okay? So let's say she's like, oh, I hate Indian, or let's say I guess there's a third way, I've never tried it. So she'll go, oh, I've never tried it, which is usually what girls say. This helps in a lot of ways. When I talk about something like Indian food, what is like the massive hidden benefit of that?
You're talking about something that you're passionate about, maybe?
No, I don't give a fuck about that. No, that's like the PUA thing to do. That's like way to like talk about something. Oh, because you're passionate about something. I don't give a fuck for her to know what I'm passionate about until after I have sex with her. I'm not gonna like, because here's the thing. Why do I not want her to give a shit? Like, I don't care. Excuse me. I don't care if she knows what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about that. About me not giving a shit about her knowing what I'm passionate about. Why do you think that is? Because me trying to show her something that I'm passionate about is already me over-investing.
Yeah.
I don't want to show her my world. I don't want to like bring her into my life. Why? Because she doesn't fucking deserve it. Like, I don't know you. What have you done to earn a place in my really cool life? Like, you know what I mean? That's coming from like me showing, and I've seen this all the time where guys are like, yeah, but I want to show her what I'm passionate about. So she knows I have interests and I'm this or that, and bring her into my world and da-da-da-da. Like, no, like I don't meet girls that often that I want to bring into my world. I will show you a fun time. We'll have a lot of sex. I'll introduce you to other girls who are gonna fuck you. Like, if I can't make you orgasm, then like my girlfriend or my girlfriend's girlfriend will. Like, I'm gonna assault you with awesome fun times. Does that make sense? But like, that's where me bringing you into my world kind of stops until after we have sex, and then I'll show you what I'm passionate about. What is me talking about food? I just kind of gave you a cheat. Massively seeding it, right? If I talk about Indian food, okay, in the interaction, yeah, there is a side benefit, by the way, of telling her something I'm passionate about, but it takes such a backseat role to the point of why I'm talking about Indian food. I'm talking about Indian food because I'm telling her that, like, every day I have girls telling me how cultured I am. I've barely been out of America. Like, I grew up in Wisconsin. I grew up hunting, fishing, like eating food that I hunted myself. I'm about as American as you can get, right? And like, yeah, I've traveled a little bit out of the country, but not much. So like culture, like, but I'm way more cultured than a lot of people who have traveled outside of the country that I've met. Because I know, just because I haven't traveled, I know a lot of stuff about these different things. But I've traveled crazy in America, right? But I've eaten at an Indian restaurant in at least 40 or 50 cities in America. So I have different samples of it. I've talked to many different Indian people.
Yeah, the thing is, like, you're resourceful. You're not necessarily like cultured.
Exactly.
People like find shit and you know how to get it.
And to be honest, that's about all I care about when it comes to that topic. Like I don't, because it's like being cultured is kind of like liking modern art. Right? I'm in the process of like, I switched places. So I'm staying at a friend's house until like I get my new place set up. And I'm picking kind of stuff that I need for my new place. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't want the walls to be barren, but at the same time, like, I'm not gonna spend much money on art. And at the same time, like, I don't care about the walls just being barren. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna put up pictures that are basically reprints of this exact room. Because how cool is it when I have girls that see this room and then come to my apartment and are like, wait, this is the room. Holy fuck. Wait, where's the big room? And then they're gonna wonder where this room is in my apartment. And then they're gonna see how it's just one cohesive unit. Does that make sense? Like, it's extremely functional. You got it? So back to the Indian food. So, oh my, holy shit, I love Indian food. She's gonna be like, I've never had it. And then what do you think I'm gonna say if she says she's never had it?
You gotta check it out.
No, because this is probably early on still. So she's like, if I've already kissed her, then yes, I'm gonna be more comfort building with it. Before the kiss, tease her hard on it. I'm gonna assault her with teases, right? I love Indian food, and she's gonna go, what? I've never had Indian food. Or I've never had Indian food. I've never had Indian food. I don't know, every girl I'm talking to has a lisp.
Your new type?
Right? I ain't got no type. What do you think I'm gonna say? Go, tease, go for it. I've never had Indian food.
You're missing out live on live. You're not in a time.
You saved it when you farted on her. What do you think?
It's just like, yeah, you don't like Indian people? Jeez, where'd you grow up?
Yeah. Further though, harder.
What's wrong with you? You don't like Indian food?
I love the what's wrong with you. That's great. What about you?
Me too, I hate it.
No, but you're trying to tease. So like, even if you don't like Indian food, right? So initially, you're trying to get as much investment from her as possible. So if you're like, oh, me too, then all of a sudden, then all she's gonna say back is, cool, we're on the same page. Right? You want as much investment. So investment would be like, oh, come on, or oh no, or what are you talking about? Like you want to rise out of her. Got it? Right. So what's a good way to get a rise? If she's like, oh, I don't like Indian food. What could you say? And I don't really give a shit if you like Indian food or not. It's just for the example, right?
No shit, they're like the fucking best thing.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, in fact, I think that you have this kind of like apathetic kind of attitude because you're kind of trying to piece it together, but I would stick with that in set. Like, no shit, it's like the best thing, or whatever you said. It's gonna be that. It's like a tinge of condescension that the girl's gonna be like, what? What do you mean? Like, it's another way to play it. So that's good. What about you?
How can you not like it?
Yeah, more expressive though. So she's like, oh, I don't like Indian food. I'm gonna be like, what? I don't like you. Leave me alone. Got it? Like you want it to be like harsher. That harshness is what's gonna cut through the clutter. Got it? Cool. So the features tell, benefits sell. Okay, let's bring it back to that. So features tell, benefits sell. The feature of what I'm describing here is me what? Traveling, knowing Indian food, knowing like multicultural food. I probably was at these Indian restaurants there's a lot of sub-communications there. There's a lot of things that aren't like literally described. Like you could go to, by the way, you could go to an Indian food place once, learn everything you need to know just by like having a lot of good observational awareness about your surroundings, and then never have to go again if you like don't like Indian food. You could go to these are all things that like you could just do by living your life anyway and getting this big Rolodex of experience, Rolodex of situations. You don't have to like go to a bunch of Indian food restaurants. I just happen to like it. There's other things that you could try, that you could do, have good observational awareness about it, and then describe it in the interactions that you're in. Got it? Cool. So first, when you bring up the topic like this, you're going to want to tease her on it to get the rise out of her. You're going to want to verbally tease her. You're going to physically walk away when she says that she hasn't done it, or let's say that she likes it. Let's spin it the other way so we can get our minds critically thinking a little bit. Let's say she, oh my God, I love Indian food too. Then what would you say?
Said, sorry, what was that?
Let's say she goes, hey, I love Indian food too. What could you say?
You're the best.
Huh?
You're the best.
You're the best? Is that what you said? Yeah. No. Why would you do that? Because we're doing the exact same example. Remember, the goal is not to like find a girl who likes Indian food. The goal is to get what?
Get laid.
Yeah. Get the rise out of her. That's the rise out of you. What's the goal here? We're trying to get a rise out of her. We're basically trying to like dent her emotions so that she gets loosened up. What we're doing here is calculated flirting, breaking rapport, bantering. So even if like whether she likes it or not, the goal is not to like find a girl who likes Indian food. The goal is what? You should know, right? What's the goal of it?
Tease her, kind of bust the balls.
No, that's the feature. What's the benefit? What's the goal of it? It's not to tease her. The goal is what?
To make her invest.
Make her invest. It's that reaction from the teasing, right?
So are you supposed to like say the opposite?
Not always. No. Not always. The goal here is just to get that rise out of her. Okay? So you could say the opposite, and that would be one way to get the rise out of her. But I don't want you to think in your head, always just say the opposite of whatever she's saying. Got it? Cool. So what's an example? She's like, oh, I love Indian. So like you're like, oh, I love Indian food. And she goes, oh, I love Indian food too. You couldn't then be like, I hate Indian food. Like you just said that you like it. Right? So the opposite wouldn't really work in that context.
Yeah,
She's gonna be like, wait, well, you could.
Yeah.
The irony is all these rules can completely be broken and shattered based on like how you say these things, right? I hate when I give examples to you guys and then like I'm like, wait, that was kind of funny. That would work. Features sell, benefits sell. So when you're in a situation like that where you're trying to pull, okay? Let's back off the Indian food example. When you're in a situation where you're trying to pull, again, it's so like with the Cromwell thing. When you're in the Cromwell, remember your goal is not to just like make it last as long as possible, right? Unless your sets are like less than 5 minutes, that is your goal. But in a situation like what you were in, you've pulled to situations like that before. It's not like it's never happened to you. So you kind of want to step up your game a little bit to the point where just getting her to the Cromwell with like, oh, it's an after party. Because Dre's, like, oh, Dre's is an after party place. We could keep partying, we could keep going, things like that. You're kind of just like shoving these things down her throat, okay? While there are things that we want to shove down their throat, this isn't one of them, okay? So what's another way that like, once you get there and you realize that Dre's is closed, what should you kind of do immediately?
Suggest something else.
Yeah, so just something else that you know is going to be open, that like, so you can still fill that void. Not really fill the need, fill that void that was created. The void was created because the lights went up. Oh shit, boom, we shouldn't be here now. We should be doing something else. So there's that void that's created that you kind of need to fill if you're gonna want to keep that set going. Okay. Now again, this is very, very good strategic game that we're talking about. If you're just going to do a high volume approach, where you're going to just try to open as many girls as possible and close whichever one is DTF, down to fuck, whichever one has been like pre-selected, things like that, then there's no need to do all these things, right? But that you have to do a much higher volume approach. I definitely prefer this style of game better, where you're actually trying to manicure the set a little bit. So what are some things that you could go to? I think Dan texted a really good one last night. I think it was him. Yeah, so like that's okay. It's better than like letting the set die, but like you're better than that. You know what I mean? Like oh, there's a bar here. Let's grab drinks. That's just kind of like a good go-to. It's better than nothing. If you're not getting to this point, just do the stuff that he's saying to at least get to that point. But instead of drinks at the bar, that doesn't really help you. It's kind of like the lights. I mean, the lights in a casino are so bright that unless you're in Vesper Bar in Cosmo, unless you're in what else? What's another bar where it's dark? You guys ever been to Rose Rabbit Lie? It's a really good local spot for like you'd kill it at Rose Rabbit Lie. Exactly, right? That alone makes it awesome. Like I go to Rose Rabbit Lie whenever I want to be like a fucking degenerate, because nobody will say anything when I go there. Like when I go there and leave, no one's like, hey, I saw you taking your shirt off, popping shots, and trying to like suck on the bartender's titty. Like nobody's gonna be like, nobody's gonna text like with his shirt off, sucking the bartender's titty and like trying to shove coke up his ass, right? Took that one kind of far. Nobody's gonna like, yeah, just to see that show happen, right? My point is this: Rose Rabbit Lie is like basically this like crazy like restaurant, nightclub slash lounge with like mini shows happening like while you're there in the Cosmo. It's by the Cosmo Buffet. It's by Wicked Spoon. So it's like up the escalator, far back, away from everything. So it's basically one of those places that like a lot of really hot local girls go, or it's super dead. Like it's kind of one or the other.
What's the day of the week? Friday, Saturday?
It's crapshoot. I don't know. Like just try to go on a Friday, Saturday and see.
Well, how often do you go?
Open today.
Is it open today? Till 12? Yeah, so like that's the thing is like I don't even know the hour. I just know I go there sometimes and it's like holy shit, this is amazing. And sometimes I'll go there and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Google says it's a tapas restaurant. Tapas.
Yeah, tapas. Yeah, tapas is a tapas restaurant. Exactly.
That's gonna be kind of cool. Tapas restaurant.
Yeah, that's something, right? Cool. So let's get back to this, the benefits. So Peppermill. Peppermill's, so the reason why I like it too is it's dark. That's kind of the point that I went on there, right? It's dark. It's dark, it's quiet. Well, it's not really quiet, but it's dark. It's not like going to a casino bar where like you could do the slot machine thing, right? Where you're like, oh, get the free drinks for the slot machine, right? At the, not the slot machine, but it's video poker. Like that's kind of the type of drink place that you went to, right, with them? Or it's like just that bar. That's kind of bad because it's bright usually. It kind of takes their energy out of the situation that you're trying to convey. Instead, you want to bring them to a place like Peppermill, the lounge part of Peppermill, not the restaurant part of Peppermill. When you walk in, you go to the left. There's like a water pit with fire that shoots out, with really old school music videos and really cheesy kind of ambiance, really cheesy chairs and seats. That's why it's cool, because it's something different. It's something chaotic. It kind of fills that after party need. It fills that void without actually needing the after party. The thing too is the cool thing about Vegas is there's always something to solve the need. In other cities, like in LA, there's like 2 places open that late. You have Stout and you have Kitchen 24. So like one of those 2 places. In Vegas, you have the most bomb pancakes in Vegas are the red velvet pancakes at the Cafe at Aria. The Cafe at Aria are insane red velvet. Like you could pull a girl from 10 miles away to there just because it's such a cool thing that you're doing. I wouldn't look at that as like a go-to. I would look at that as kind of like better than the drinks at the bar in the casino level. It's better than that, but the best thing to do is, hey, strip club. And they're like, oh, I don't like strip clubs. What should you look at her and do? What should you say? Fuck you, I wasn't talking about the strip club. I was talking about the Mexican food they serve in the strip club. Duh. You're fucking perverted. What's wrong with you? You didn't let me finish either. How are we gonna build on this if you don't let me finish my sentences? Make sense? Like, I don't know where you got this ass and titty idea from. I'm just talking about the most organic, bombest Mexican food in the world. Yelp even says so. It says it on the internet. It's gotta be true. right? Does it make sense? So I'm teasing her, but I'm still giving her a way out. Every time you tease a girl, if you don't give them the way out, then it's just like, oh, I got teased. Now what do I do, right? You have to tease them and then give them like an easier option, an easier door to go through.
What do you mean? How do you do that?
Okay, so by teasing her, I can't just be like, what? Strip clubs are awesome, you're fucking lame. That would work, that's funny, right? That's funny, but it doesn't give them a way out. So to just be like a really good pickup artist, you'd be like, strip clubs are awesome, you're a faggot, you're lame. Oh, come on, what are you, gay? Oh, strip clubs are cool, you know, like you just like tease them. And then that would be like a good pickup artist thing to do. What would be even better is tease them and kind of give them a way out. So what I like to do, so it's like a slight misinterpretation, will still give them a chance to kind of respond back. So the best way to tease is look at it like you have these two channels with two hairpin turns. It's like a racetrack, like a NASCAR track. So like you tease them down this path, and then you kind of give them a way to like pop out of the corner and come back at you with like a positive thing. Does that make sense? It's kind of a weird example, but does that make sense though?
That's actually pretty cool.
So otherwise, like it's just this, if teasing is this one-way street where you're just like all you're trying to do then is like be funny. And if you have trouble like even opening sets, then like that's not so bad. But understand the next thing to get to is teasing. So a way where like I throw the tease down this racetrack and it pops back out the end with her laughing, her hugging me, her like giving her own reasoning on why she said the thing that she said. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but how do you do that?
Okay, so I do that, but I'm like, hey, you have to set like little traps. So I'm gonna set the trap over here. That's like structured flirting is setting traps, seeing if they jump through them, and if they jump through them, you grab them and then you shake them through the trap. So what I do is I say this. Oh, what did I say? Oh, you wanna go to a strip club? So you could even set it the way you mentioned, as long as you spike it down with all the different things that I just said. Oh, because what did she say? Oh, I'm hungover. Like, oh, let's go to a strip club. And it might not be that exact order, but just go with me here. You know, so I'm hungover. Oh, let's go to the strip club. She's gonna be like, what? I don't wanna go to a strip club. I'm gonna look at her right back and be like, what are you talking about? I'm going to the strip club because they serve the best, most bomb-ass Mexican food in the strip club. I don't know what you're talking about with all these ass and titties. I just wanna get the bomb-ass Mexican food in the strip club. It's voted best on Yelp anyway. It's got to be true. The internet says it. And then because I'm saying all these things, like so the tease is what, you don't like ass and titties? Because obviously everybody likes ass and titties, even girls do. So when I'm saying that joke, I'm giving her, like that's just me like assaulting her with the joke. Like, come on, everyone likes ass and titties. Ha, it's a strip club, it's fun. That's like the joke back. But then giving her the way out, it's like, I'm only going there for the bomb Mexican food. It's organic. What, you don't like organic food? Come on. I'm not waiting for the answer, it's rhetorical. You don't like organic food? Everyone kind of likes organic food, right? It's also voted best on Yelp. Haha, you know, like, I'm not just trying to like I'm not trying to like just tell her the feature that, oh, it's literally voted the best on Yelp. Like that's just kind of neat. That's not something I'm actually trying to do. I'm trying to say that so that I can say my joke about, oh, it's on the internet. It's got to be true. Haha. By me making the joke about the thing about the Mexican food in the strip club, that's squeezing her down that track so that she can come back out and be like, oh, I didn't know they had, like the out is by me talking about Mexican food at the strip club. Her out is like, oh, they have Mexican food? Does that make sense? I didn't realize that they had that. Let me actually hop on board on this train that you've set up on this track, and let me actually go to this thing that you described, which is bomb-ass Mexican food in the strip club. I'm giving her the out I'm letting her save face. I'm giving her the out after the tease. I don't want to just get a laugh. I don't want to just get a cool thing. I want to get the laugh so that she hops on this track that I've established. That is a fun track that she's not going to regret. Got it? Yeah. But then once we're at the strip club, what do you think she's going to do? Have fun. She's going to see the ass and titties and, oh my God, this is so much fun. And then the Mexican food is as good as I just delivered on, right? On top of the fact that like now we just set it up, so like I'm not gonna say it's only us that can get the Mexican food in there, but like you'll be the only person getting Mexican food in the strip club. Which will that make you look cool or not cool? Cool. Got it? If you can pull to your room first, of course. I usually just pull straight to my room. But if you can't, here's the thing, if you can't get them to a food place out of the club, if you can't get them to drinks outside the club, to some diner outside the club, if you can't get them to some, man, I think the air just cranked on. If you can't get them to some other place, then there's no way you're gonna be able to get them straight to your place without just doing DTF screening. high volume
Do
screening.
you see to go to your room? Like, do you say like, oh, there's this funny?
Yeah, you remember last week I did the whole YouTube thing with my laptop?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. So
I use that a lot. I just pull straight to my room, straight to my place, unless it's a group setting and I want to keep the group alive as well. For me right now, unless it's going to be a crazy fucking night, unless it's going to be like a really wild night, I'm not going to just pull one girl at home because it's not worth it. I'm going to pull a whole group to some place and pull one girl from that group, so I've built social proof with that group and I've pulled one girl. It's a kind of accomplishing 2 goals in that night. Otherwise, it's not worth the hour to 3 hours I'm putting into the thing. Does that make sense? Yeah. In terms of like you just going into surrender tonight, meeting a girl, like yeah, 100%, you're gonna want to try to pull her to your place first. But if that doesn't work, I don't want you to just leave the interaction altogether purely because, oh, it didn't work. So I'm just going to leave and try to find another girl that will come with me to my hotel room. Does that make sense?
So
it's a good point that you brought up.
Yeah. How do you?
It's a good point you brought up because it really bothers me when guys are like, oh, always take girls to food before you take them home. I think that's so lame. I think that's really lame. I might not even eat food with the whole organic Mexican food in the strip club thing, right? But I'm prepared to if necessary in that situation. But yeah, in that situation, I'm not going to try to pull her to the strip club. I'm going to just try to pull her home first. But then in that situation, you remember how he said the friend was the one who actually was hungover or there's some issue? I'm not going to like throw away this entire set because the friend is hungover. I'm going to like, I'm going to extend the effort necessary to pull the law of attrition, which is going to try to drop the friend off or solve the needs of the friend in order to hook up with the girl I'm trying to hook up with. You can't just be like, oh yeah, I like Chris D'Elia, let's go watch him. It's got to be, for that to work, most of the interactions I'm in though, it's like aggressive at this point it's like aggressive makeout with me, oh, meet my girlfriend, aggressive makeout with her, okay, cool, this is boring now, let's go. Like that's how almost every interaction I have now. Obviously, like if you don't have a wing girl to do that with you, it's not applicable. So I don't want you to like throw the whole example away just because of that. So the other night when I pulled the girl, I pulled a girl from Excess the other night, I pulled a girl from, what is it, Bootsie's, I think, in LA. Like when you pull them in that situation, I was like, oh, just me walking into the nightclub and pulling. I don't really want, there's like this ratio. The more justification you put into the interaction, the more likely she is to come home with you. Oh, from the Maximum Party. The justification I used to pull girls from this Maximum Party that I videoed at the other day was, I was kind of annoyed with the people that like were organizing it. So I looked at the girl and like I ended up being on stage with like Nick Jonas. Have any of you guys seen this footage yet? How many minutes is it total of like usable footage? Maybe 5 minutes?
Yeah, about that.
About 5 minutes of like, yeah, there's not a lot of like usable footage of me because I'm filming. But at one point I grabbed somebody to film me as I'm doing it. And I'm on stage filming these super, super hot girls. Like some of the hottest girls I've seen in a while. And I'm filming them and I pull them back to the house with the excuse of seeing the footage on the SD card. I was supposed to hand the SD card in, but I was like, yo, so do you want to just bounce out of here and I'll just keep the SD card? I'll give them back the case and we'll just pop it in my computer back at home. And they're like, yeah, of course. Like using a camera out when you're gaming is the biggest cheat that you could ever use. Like it's insane. It's unbelievable. Like you will fuck almost every single girl that you take pictures of. It's crazy. It's such a cheat. It's amazing, but it's cheating, which isn't necessarily bad. So anyway, the point is now by doing that, if I lose that SD card, like I'm tying my entire clothes though to that SD card. It's not like a overly sexualized clothes at first. You follow? So what I do is the problem with that is that I actually now have to deliver on that SD card promise. Like we now have to look at the photos. We have to like at least a little bit go through that process. They're gonna keep being like, well, what about the photos? What about the photos? What about the photos? Like, you know what I mean? Like I could be like, oh yeah, so wine. There's wine over here. Let's go have this bottle and let's look at the view over here. Right? You could do that, but it's easier to just fulfill the obligation of the SD card, of the photos. But then the problem with that is now you just committed to several minutes of this photo thing. Does it make sense? So the best thing for you when you're just trying to pull them straight to your room is escalate enough physically in the club. Well, first build enough commonalities so that they trust you and they have comfort with you. Escalate enough physically where they know that like if they're in a room alone with you, sex could happen. That's basically what you want them to establish. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And the excuse to like, oh, let's go to my room for whatever. Keep thinking.
The excuse is, this fucking sucks, but you and I are awesome. Let's go somewhere else. And then just lead them to the room. That's my favorite thing ever. It's like, wait, we're having a lot of fun here. But this, like, that's why I judge people. In all my interactions, I'm like judging girls, judging guys. I'm having her do it as well in a non-qualifying kind of way. I'm not like looking at guys that are actually really cool and being like, look at him with his fucking well-manicured beard and his man bun and his awesome shoes. Fuck that guy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna like make fun of like cool dudes. I just like described John. That was funny. I'm not gonna be like, look at that guy with his deep Brazilian man voice. God, that frustrating guy. You know what I mean? Look at that cute little Asian I just want to shove in my pussy. Right? I'm not gonna like make fun of guys for being cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. Instead, I'm gonna like, look at that girl. What do you think about her? And then I'm just gonna usually, like, that's all that I really need to say. And the girl's just gonna be like, oh my gosh, she's basic as fuck. Like, she's just gonna like go off. You know what I mean? And then I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, this, and this. And then we're gonna make jokes back and forth with the girl. I'm gonna be like, oh, what do you think about that girl over there? And she's like, which one? I go, the one with no panties on. She's like, what? How do you know? And I'm like, you know, grab her, kiss her. Oh my God, I can't believe you did that. I know, right? It's crazy. But look at that dude over there. What he's like a fuck boy. He's a thought nigga. What's going on with him? These are like pop culture terms where they have like on memes. Basically anything you've seen on a meme, you could just say in set and it's gonna be really funny. And then like, oh my God, look at that thought nigga. Look at him. He's like a male bottle rat. A male bottle rat. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard. I know, right? Kiss, make out. Okay, cool. Pull back. So now, what do you think? It's your turn. What do you mean it's my turn? Pick some people out. Okay. That girl. She looks basic as fuck. I know, right? She's basically wearing Ugg boots in the club. Holy shit, she is wearing Ugg boots in the club. What? No, she's not. She's gonna look. Haha, she's wearing heels. I thought you said she's wearing Ugg boots. I'm just kidding. Look at her. Oh, I know. She looks like she could be. And now we're just bouncing back and forth in the interaction. Make sense? Yeah. So then at a certain point, do you see how much fun that is? Yeah. Like that's like, who here had fun just like listening to it? I think it was fun, right? Everybody but Arter had fun listening to that. I'm just kidding. It was a fun interaction. And that's one way that the set could go, and that's a way that many of my sets have gone, where I'm just like doing this thing back and forth. And then I'm gonna merge sets and get other people to do it as well. And then when I have time to escalate, I'll pull my girl over here, we'll do a mini isolation, kiss, make out, maybe a spin if I'm feeling very pick-a-bee, and then look at everybody else, do the whole judge thing. And then at a certain point, I'm like, yo, this is kind of boring now. Like these, because after we've like judged every person in the nightclub, we're like, fuck this place, let's go. And then she's gonna be like, well, where are we going? I'm like, to get drinks. And she's like, okay. Like the more fun that I've created for her, the less I'm gonna have to justify things. If you have to be like this crazy benefit situation of like this pullback and all this other stuff, you're not front loading the work, right? Like he could have, like he did a good job, because a lot of PUAs would love to be in his position where he like got a girl out of a club. Like anybody here struggle with that? Like just getting a girl like out of the club to that position, right? You guys struggle with that ever? Yeah, a little bit? So like it's cool to like get that girl to that position where you can do that. So anyway, yeah, if you front load the work and do all these like the jokes, the keynote, the making fun of the other people, by doing all of that in like a really solid game way, you're doing it in a situation where you're creating a situation where you don't have to do all that work later. You don't have to tell them about these other pullbacks. You don't have to do all these justifications. You can just be like, oh, I'm bored here. Let's go. The worst she's going to say is, oh, but where are we going? And then drinks, out of the club, anything. And she's going to be like, okay. Like she just needs an answer from you. Does that make sense? Yeah. Cool. I love to pull before like 11:30. Any pull after 11:30, I'm like, all right. Like me and my buddies had this rule. We had to, one of my first business partners in game, when I had my old, well, not my old company, the company before that company, we had this thing where we had to pull before 11:30 or it didn't count so that we could pull again. It's like if we didn't pull twice in a night, we were mad at each other. We're like, oh fuck. If you didn't pull before 11:30, it was hard to pull twice in a night. But if you pull before 11:30, there's no logistical issues. Why is that?
Everything is open.
There's no logistical issues because she can get back to her friends.
And they're still partying.
And they're still partying. There's no problem. Almost every single girl in Vegas, it's actually easier to pull her before 11:30 than it is at like 4 a.m. As long as you have the balls to actually do it. As long as you take that mirror, put it at your knees and look in that mirror and see what's hanging. Right?
You talking about pulling them from the club or like during the day?
Both, but I mean specifically what I'm talking about is before, like when the club opens, there's that hour window where like, okay, so have you ever noticed the wave of women that leave the club and people for that matter, of people that leave the club before like, they leave it around like 1:15, like 12:30 to 1:15. That's because they're done for the night. Like that's their wave of like, oh, we got our fix in. We got our Vegas fix in. We're cool. We're good now. Does that make sense? You ever see that?
Yeah, right.
Cool. What that goes to show you is that, wait, that group of people have achieved their party experience and they're done for the club, they're going home now. So that just kind of like really solidifies and grounds the fact that you can pull before 11:30. If they're already, like if there's already people thinking about leaving, they're gonna leave the club in a few minutes anyway. You're just going with them. So that alone means there's a large group of girls that even if you aren't there, even if they don't meet you, they're already planning on leaving at that time. So if she's here, if she's there to see, sorry, label out so Red Bull can see it. If she's there to see the DJ, and I'm hitting on her, then I'm going to, then like if those two factors are valid, then what that means is I'm going to be at a table. I'm never going to hit on a girl who's there to see the DJ in the general admission. Does that make sense? If I'm hitting on girls in the general admission, it's just because like, oh, it's like those two girls from Bakersfield. I think Julie and I hit up these two girls from Bakersfield. They were super pretty. Actually, you remember them because you edited it. Yeah, like the brunette I thought was stunning. And they weren't there to see the DJ, but they were hot. Like they were so hot that they should be at a table, but they didn't give a fuck about like nightlife stuff. So they're just two hot girls like walking to the bar and then like they're gonna get their Vegas fix in. Okay? So if I'm hitting on a girl and she is there to see the DJ, I'm not really ever going to like hit on like a girl. Like for a girl to be in the general admission and just there to see the DJ, she's not gonna be very attractive because she's attractive. She's gonna be at a table if she's there to see the DJ. Does that like equation make sense? So if I'm there hitting on a girl who's just there to see the DJ, I'm gonna be at a table and I'm not really going to, what was your exact question though? Because I want to like draw this entire plot line.
You're trying to pull like 11:30.
Yeah. So if I'm trying to pull at 11:30, okay. So if I'm trying to pull at 11:30 and I'm hitting on a girl who's just there to see the DJ, we're gonna be at a table where within minutes we're gonna know common people, and we probably already know common people. And if let's say you guys go up to and want to hit on a girl in this situation, by you just your number one goal is to get accepted to that table. Once you're accepted to that table, your goal is not to like this sniper approach of like, oh, I see a hot girl at a table, I'm gonna go up and hit on that girl and be like alpha, extremely man to woman, and try to like muscle my way through this. It's never gonna work. Even like the guy might like be a puppet master and let you hit on the girl for a little while, but then what's gonna end up happening if you don't win the table over? You can get pushed out. He's gonna have a lot of fun kicking you out of that, unless you like really win her over hard and she's got solid logistics that she could leave with you right there. You need to gain the trust of everybody at that table. And even better, I like to make it to the point where they're like loving me. I used to get this thing. Have you guys seen the photo of me where I'm like, my head's back and they're pouring the vodka and the orange juice in my mouth at the same time? Yeah. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Has anybody else seen that? No? So, huh?
I guess, like Instagram maybe?
I don't think it's on Instagram. It's on Facebook. Where like my head's back and I'm getting the, yeah. That used to be my thing where I would get people, I would regularly get cool guys to pour me their drink and mix it in the air at the same time. So I would teach them how to do it. I'd be like, hey, so this is what you gotta do. You gotta get somebody. I'd like walk up to them. I'd be like, hey, you know what you gotta do? You gotta get somebody to tilt their fucking head back and you mix the drink in mid-air as it goes in their fucking mouth. And they would be like, well, what? They think that sounds cool. Like think about it. You buy a bottle of alcohol, you're at a table. It's kind of boring. It's like the wait. Once the waitresses.
Классному руководителю Татьяне Петровне очень понравились конфеты, которые подарил ей любимый ученик. Одна конфета – нежная карамель, такая же мягкая, как ее характер. А другая – со вкусом яблока и корицы, незабываемым, как ее уроки. Словно все эти вкусы подобраны специально для нее. Альпенгольд Композишн. Много вкусов, один подарок.
Спишемся на следующей неделе.
Угу.
Ну что ж, дело хорошее. Поздравляю.
Оленька, сынок, как я рада.
Ну, а твои-то в курсе?
Пока нет, но сегодня скажу.
Ну что ж, раз такое дело, ну передай, что ждем гости. Надо ж обсудить подготовку к свадьбе.
Конечно, дядя Миш. Ну, давайте завтракать. Доктор, ну что, как моя девочка?
Не переживайте, все хорошо. Операция прошла успешно, ногу сохранили.
Слава Богу.
Теперь нужна длительная реабилитация. Я свяжусь с Институтом ортопедии и травматологии и поговорю о переводе Тани туда.
Спасибо вам, доктор. Огромное спасибо.
Не беспокойтесь, я буду держать все под своим контролем, вплоть до ее полного выздоровления.
Ну, что я тебе говорила? Теперь твоя девочка в надежных руках. Если Валя, Валентина Дмитриевна сказала, значит, так и будет. Ее слово кремень. Доведет дело до конца.
Ну что, проводил Олю?
Проводил.
Сынок, я надеюсь, что на сей раз ты нас с мамой не подведешь, а?
Не подведу, обещаю.
Да, обещать ты мастер. Ни одно дело до конца в своей жизни не довел. Спорт отдали, бросил. Институт бросил. Коммерческие дела какие-то начинал, все мимо.
Бать, ну не начинай, а.
А я и не начинал. А ну-ка вот, иди сюда. Иди сюда. Давай. Сядь. Вот смотри, Вензель. Твоя, между прочим, идея. Ты сказал, что все сделаешь сам. Поедешь к кузнецу, договоришься, и что? Дальше обещание дело не пошло. Ты даже эскиз не дорисовал. Все на меня сбросил, как всегда.
Не волнуйся, в этот раз все будет хорошо.
А я и не волнуюсь. Ты учти, сынок, Оля, она не та очередная девица твоя. Она дочь моего друга и партнера по бизнесу. Ты и меня серьезно подставишь, понимаешь?
Я все понимаю. Я тебя не подведу. Слово даю.
Ну, хорошо. Коли так. Ты куда собрался?
Погулять.
Так, может, сегодня обойдешься?